P47, the sleeper colt who snuck up on the class of 2005 in North America and left them in a spin on Little Brown Jug Day. Not that he hadn't shown glimpses before that. 6 wins as a 2-year-old with a 152 mile to boot. Then a record-shattering win on Meadowlands Pace Night, when, in the Great Races consolation, he won by 9 lengths and ran 148 and 4, faster than the glamour pacer Rock and Roll Hanover managed to win the final. It was Rock and Roll Hanover he smashed at Delaware to win the Little Brown Jug too. The son of the Ponderosa and $500,000 winning Arts Place mare Kahiba Mary has impressed leading horsemen with his first progeny, which averaged $23,000 at the sales this year. The signs are there that this quiet, clean-gaited horse is about to stamp himself all over again. Watch for his 2-year-olds on the tracks this spring.
They're at the hand, 55 seconds.
Why is the Jug such a reliable yardstick for great harness races? Well, it's near the end of a hard-out season for 3-year-old pacers. It's at least 2 races, sometimes 3 in the one day. In short, it sorts the show-offs from the staunch. Some of the most influential standardbred stallions in all of harness racing make the Little Brown Jug roll call. Tar Heel, the dam sire of the great Holmes Hanover, won it in 1951. Overtrick, dam sire of Falcon Sealster, 1963. The influential Meadow Skipper's most influential son, Most Happy Fella, in 1970. There's little question the Little Brown Jug brings out the best. In 2005, Rock and Roll Hanover runs favourite, having become the only horse in harness racing history to run sub 150 miles as both a 2 and 3-year-old. In front quickly from the gate, and challengers were sure to be just support acts to the rock star.
Brian Sears has put Rock and Roll Hanover on up front and says, come and get me if you want. They're jammed up a bit, and P47 comes to the outside. Now third, now second, and going right on after Rock and Roll Hanover. Battles raging on the front end early on.
In the back straight the final time, and time for the headliner to go solo after carrying the rest of the crew to the 3/4 pole. Driver Brian Sears seemingly comfortable, the whip's cracking at P47 and Co.
And it's Rock and Roll Hanover and P47. They're still going at it. Gryffindor at third. Mark Card on the outside's off stride. Climbed the ladder, sent 3 wide. 1/8 a mile to go. Rock and Roll Hanover on the outside. P47 climbed the ladder on the outside. P47 climbed the ladder. Rock and Roll Hanover. P47 won 53 and 4.
If you would have told me P47 would be first over from the 3/8 on and would wear down Rock and Roll Hanover, I wouldn't have believed you. P47, what a game effort, just hanging in there for Dave Pallone, who was forced to pull when Rock and Roll made the lead in the field, jammed up like an accordion behind him. Unbelievable.
It had been a fair while since juniors to the Jug. It'd seen such a strength-sapping performance end in victory.
I think the first 1/8 was 12, and Brian obviously did the right thing trying to give his horse a breather, but man, I haven't seen anybody rugged it out like that since Life Sign. Of course, it's a long day yet.
And so the bell for round 2, and the Glamour Colt gassing in front again, with P47 in the pocket, and 2-year-old pacing colt of 2004, Village Jolt, stalking second over. Who'd be left standing after all of the swinging?
On top of the field, Rock and Roll Hanover. Roddy's bags again second. P47 dropped in. Village Jolt second over on the outside. Racing up 5th. Up front, Tornado. Village Jolt 3 wide for Ron Pierce. Now third, now second, and going right on. Rock and Roll Hanover on the inside. And here comes P47. 3/4, 124, 28 and 4. Village Joe, P47, Rock and Roll Hanover on the outside. It's Village Joe closing on the outside. P47, Rock and Roll Hanover down the stretch. Village Joe, P47 on the outside, nose to nose, stride for stride. P47 on the outside. 152 and 1. P47 and Dave Pallone, Kelly O'Donnell win the Little Brown Jug.
A head-shaking performance by P47 to pull off North America's most famous and hard-won horse race. The signals for something like this had been flagged as early as June, when the colt had impressed US #1 driver Ron Pierce, winning the Burlington Stakes in Canada.
You know, I don't know anything about this colt at all except for what Kelly told me tonight, and he was kind of high on him going into the race. He told me exactly how he'd feel and what he would do. He kind of felt that the horse had a good shot to win the race. So I put him in it. We had to use him hard to get to the top, and he had a good grip on me all the way around the back. And then it was just a question of finding some room. He straightened up and took off. He raced very well. Mark of 150. That's very impressive.
That win had P47 at the top of Meadowland's pace calculations, but a choke down in the elimination left him in the consolation at the big end. To the front and run-along tactics met the only choker today. It'll be by the rest.
And they're off. P47 sends out of there from mid-pack, striding toward the front. His stablemate Run Over feeling away well as P47 hits 3/4 in 1:21, a 27-second flat third quarter, and it's P47 striding away now. He's opened up to a 5-length lead. Synchro Z-Tam could not go on. Run Over feeling full out. Dawn of a New Day off excess cover, rallying up towards second, but P47 has built himself a big lead at the edge of the toe board. He is going to win it. He is going to win it in style. It's P47 about 9 lengths in front in 1:48.2.
Officially 9 3/4 lengths. Officially the third fastest mile ever by a 3-year-old pacer. A new track record and a run 1/5 faster than the final won by Rock and Roll Hanover later that same night.
And here comes P47! Now third, now second, and going right on after Rock and Roll Hanover. P47! And Dave Pillow wins the Little Brown Jug! #1, P47.
Offering the most modern bloodlines and a career loaded with victories in the traditional benchmark races. Little Brown Jug winner P47 at Nevele R Stud.